Hello and welcome to another episode of Morris LC Rescue. Well, the fire's on, the cup of tea is made, and that can only mean one thing. It's going to be a Q&A session. In actual fact, we're going to expand on our normal Q&A session, and for the first time, we're going to also do a mailbag here because, look, it has just blown me away, the generosity of you guys out there and the way that you want to support the channel. I've had a lot of tools coming in which I'm going to share with you, and also a few goodies as well too, which goes to show you guys really do watch what's going on this channel. The other thing which I would like to do, we'll still do our normal Q&A, so I'll distill down again probably 6 to 10 of your questions that are quite common, questions that you're all asking, and see if I can give you answers to those questions. But lastly, what we'll do, I'm going to, every time we do one of these sessions, I'm going to pick two of you out of the email bag who've emailed me with a particular problem or chasing parts or just need a helping hand. Because what we have got out there on the channel in our viewers and subscribers is the most amazing collection of experiences. I mean, we've got Morris mechanics, we've got all sorts of mechanically minded people and car enthusiasts watching the channel now, and it's just such an untapped and valuable resource. So we'll try and help a few people with that information along the way and see if we can solve a few problems. So anyway, strap yourselves in and let's get started with the mailbag. Well, we do have some amazingly generous people watching the channel, and yeah, a lot of you are offering to send different items in to me. You guys have already worked out that I really like my tea, cups of tea, definitely a favourite. And Pete from Murray Bridge in South Australia has, I think he's trying to convert me from Tetley, but he sent me in some Dilmah extra strength leaf tea. Greatly appreciated, Pete. I will give it a try, but no promises. So that's our Dilmah tea. And then Dave from Mirrabooka in Western Australia has also sent me some tea. So again, Dave, I think you're trying a conversion here, but look, I will give it a try and see how we go. I am a Tetley man, but yeah, look, I'm sure Bushels is good tea, and I really appreciate you sending this in. Any tea that makes its way into the shed never gets wasted. So yeah, we'll definitely be putting that to use in the teapot. Thank you for that. And then we've got Greg and Cynthia, who actually did send me in there in Dolphin Heads, just out of Mackay. So they've sent me in a bag of Tetley Extra Strong, which, guys, as you know, is definitely my favourite. Can't go past the old Tetley Extra Strong, so thank you very, very much for that. And then we've got this special little packet of McVite's digestives. I didn't think anybody would pick that up, but that comes to us from Paul, Jean, Josh, Simon and Gillian. So a lovely family there. I think you guys might be in Victoria. The packet was a little bit hard to read. Things got a bit wet. But look, guys, thank you very, very much for that. And what a way to compliment my cups of tea. Can't beat the old McVite's chocolate digestives. So thank you very much for that, guys. Certainly appreciate it. Well, I'm going to need the tool trolley for this one. There's just so many wonderful bits and pieces you guys have sent in. The first one I wanted to mention was Franklin and Beth in Cheyenne, Wyoming, have sent in this liquid moly tappet stop noise. Now, Franklin assures me that he could hear a lot of tappet noise in Holly's engine, and hence he sent this in to try and take out some of that wear and tear. Franklin, you're probably right. She is a little bit tired, that motor, but we'll tighten things up. And yeah, I can certainly give this a try. Yeah, definitely some quality German product right there. But yeah, thank you very, very much for thinking of us and for tuning in and watching the channel, and obviously turning the volume right up there so you could hear those tappets. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. This next tool is from Graham in Toronto, Canada. And yeah, obviously for working on your valve train. Now, I did receive a few valve tools as a result of the first 2 episodes on recovering Holly's engine. And yeah, some of you saw me struggling a little bit with those valves. I do tend to use some of the cheaper tools out there for the simple reason that I'm trying to get more young people involved in restoring these old cars. And oftentimes as a young person, you don't have a big budget to spend on tools. So if you can get by with second-hand tools or cheaper tools, then you'll do it. So when you see me using these cheaper tools, generally it's me just trying these things out, because if I'm going to say to a young person, yeah, give it a go using this tool, then yeah, I'd like to know myself that I'm not leading them up the garden path. So, but look, really appreciate this, kind of like a medieval torture instrument. But yeah, I'll definitely be putting this to good use. Thank you very much, Graham. And also Noah in British Columbia has sent through this one. Now, I would say this is a much older valve tool, and she has certainly seen some work in her day, which is a sign of a tool that's been well used and much loved. She's had a few repairs along the way there. But yeah, again, a tool used for the valves. So yeah, we will clean these up and certainly put them to good use on the show. Thank you very much, Noah. Really appreciate it, mate. You've sent that a long, long way to get to me here. So yeah, greatly appreciated, mate. Now this bizarre little number here is from Jensen in Fort Worth, Texas. Now I've got to say, you Texan guys, you're just crazy. The number of emails I get from you blokes over there, you know, asking for LS swaps and, you know, V8 swaps and all the rest of it. You guys really love your V8s over there, I can tell. So, but I did say it in the first Q&A session. It's just not going to happen, guys. I mean, certainly now with the price of fuel, it's a lot more economical to run around in a little 4-cylinder beater than it is to, yeah, have one of your thumping great V8s. And respect, you know, I love the V8s. I've got one myself. But yeah, as I say, price of fuel now, I'm hoping that people will take a second look at some of these older vintage 4-cylinder engines and yeah, get into them. Getting back to this, Jensen, I actually have no idea what this tool is for. So if you see this video, mate, I'd really appreciate you reaching out again. There was a quick note in there just to say hi, and I hope you can use it, but it doesn't actually say what it's for. I'm wondering if it's for actually holding collets when you're trying to slide the valve stem up, or yeah, really not sure. But yeah, if you could give me a sing out on that one, I'd appreciate it, Jensen. But thank you. We'll clean it up, and again, we'll put it up on our vintage tool board, and yeah, we'll definitely get used if we can on the Morris engines. So thank you. Now this one here comes from Owen in Tennessee. Now this actually has Ford stamped on it, and it is, again, it is an old tool. I'm not sure, but I think again this is a device for grabbing maybe collets on the top of our valve stem. Again, there wasn't a description with it, Jensen, as to exactly what it was for. So I am just a little bit lost. I'm not an experienced mechanic. I'm more of a farm mechanic. So yeah, some of these tools a professional mechanic would look at it and know straight away. Myself, it's a little bit more of a mystery sometimes. Beautiful tool, well constructed, and obviously designed for a Ford engine, but that doesn't mean it can't be used on a Morris engine. So yeah, look, Owen from Tennessee, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. You've sent that a long way again. And yeah, hello Tennessee. Now I've got this beautiful valve compression tool. Jack wrote me, Jack's in Cowra in New South Wales, and wrote me a lovely letter. Now he's again a retired gentleman who's cleaning out his shed. He watched the episode where we rebuilt Holly's head and gave it just a bit of a clean up, and said that yeah, you need one of these. So he sent me his old valve compression tool for yeah, removing those valve springs and collets and getting the valves out. So yeah, we can certainly put this to good use, Jack. I don't actually have one of these old tools. As you saw, I've just bought a cheapy one to give it a try, and this is the real deal. I've actually, I know you said that it wasn't working, I've actually repaired this thread here now, Jack. So yeah, everything on this tool is working again. And yeah, we'll definitely be able to put this to good use, mate. So really, really appreciate that one, Jack. Thank you. And yeah, really appreciate it, mate. It's great that you would send that to me. Now, this one unfortunately arrived in the post in a box which was really, really wet. Now, from what I understand, this is actually a valve removal tool for a side valve engine. So this one comes from Greg and Janice, and they are in, they're over in Adelaide. I just can't quite remember which suburb in Adelaide. Now, the letter that you sent and the package, we've had a lot of rain down here. This one was in the mailbox and the package got wet, the letter got soaked, and the ink actually ran on the letter. So a lot of what you put down in there for me unfortunately got lost. So if you could reach out again to me on the Gmail account, that would be appreciated. And yeah, I'd look forward to talking to you about that one a little bit more. I do actually have a Chrysler side valve 6, so this would not go unused. I'll definitely, yeah, definitely be able to put this to use when we're doing the Chrysler engine. So thank you very much once again, guys. Really appreciate you sending this in. Well, it's time for our question and answer section. And yeah, look, I've just picked 6 of the most common questions that you guys are asking, and I'll just quickly run through those answers. So the number one question that you're asking is, what plans have we got for Holly? Look, at this stage, and I mean, if you've been watching the episodes, you'll know Holly's come an awful long way since we first dragged her out from under the holly tree. At this stage, look, our plans for her really are to get her to a point where she is roadworthy, but we'll probably end up using Holly on our little farm. She's a great old truck. That engine, if we get that crack fixed, should be reliable enough to yeah, to just use her as a bit of a farm utility vehicle, which I think she will be well suited to. We are still going to go through and keep fixing up all the different components on Holly, and the simple reason behind that is a lot of you guys are asking for specific information about different repairs around these trucks. So what we're going to try and do is encapsulate all of that and pick a couple of things each episode that we're working on Holly, and concentrate on fixing one area of the truck. Last week it was the fuel system, so you know, next week we might do wheel bearings and brakes. But yeah, hopefully over the next couple of months we'll have her up to a point where we can actually go and get a roadworthy on her, and yeah, you'll actually see her with registration plates. We have been toying with the idea of taking her for a lap around Tasmania and taking you guys along with us. We do get a lot of requests for, you know, especially after the episode where we went and picked Holly up, and we actually showed you just a few small snippets of the scenery that we travel through every day as we're moving around Tasmania. But a lot of you have asked for a few more sort of landscapey type images and that in what we're doing. So as I say, we may well take a lap of Tasmania in Holly if she's up to it, and yeah, turn that into a bit of a road trip in the old girl, which would be exciting in its own right. So watch this space, and we'll see what happens. Okay, well, question number 2. Some of you, and I'd say this is mainly tourists who are travelling around Tasmania at the moment and watching the show as they're going around Tasmania, have actually asked if they could come and pay us a visit. Look, I'm flattered, guys, and I appreciate your interest, but at this stage, it's actually, look, everything's filmed here when we're in the shed on a private residence. We're not really open to the public, nor are we really set up for that type of thing. Down the track, who knows, if the channel continues to grow and things progress, then that might change. And look, by all means, if you see me out and about filming, do not hesitate to come up and say g'day, introduce yourself, tell me your story about your particular vehicle or your restoration, or if you've got a problem, see if I can help. I love it when you guys communicate through email or face-to-face. But yeah, just at this stage, no, we're not really doing tours of the workshop or the property. And yeah, but as I say, who knows down the track, that might change. But for now, the answer is no. Question number 3, and another common question that you guys are asking is, how many trucks do you actually have? That's a really good question. If you counted up all the pieces of trucks and spare parts, there's probably 10 or 15 there all told. But the reality is we, as trucks, we have 5. They're all LC3s, and none of those trucks are running at the moment. So you would hear me refer to Olive Oil. So she is probably a good halfway now through her major restoration. She won't be a concourse vehicle, but she will certainly be restored to a very high standard. A lot of the parts on the truck are brand new, and a lot of hours have gone into her restoration so far, and still a lot of hours to go. And then behind her we have another couple of very complete LC3s, which we would also like to restore to a high standard. But you know, there's a lot of hours going there. There's only so many hours in the day, and yeah, a lot of stuff has to happen in those hours. So sometimes time's a bit limited. The other thing that's really beaten us this year has been the weather. You know, like winter, obviously in Tasmania, not a great time to paint things, and with Olive Oil in particular, we're really been hamstrung by the fact we're waiting to paint the engine and chassis. And just can't do that at the moment because we have too much humidity, or the weather is not consistent enough, or it's blowing a gale, or it's pouring rain. It really has been a shocker. So we're hoping, we're crossing fingers and toes that December will be the turning point, and we'll get Olive Oil out of the shed, get her painted, and then we can move on to the next stage there. But we still have a lot of restorations ahead. And to be honest, I think Holly will be the first truck on the road here and actually registered, and she'll probably be the one that you would see at car shows and out and about from time to time. So question number 4 I've got here, and I think it's a fair question, is what is your association with Brad Dunn Vintage Truck Supplies? Look, the simple answer is Brad is a mate of mine, and he has probably single-handedly done more, both him and Julie, to promote the restoration of many of these older English brands here in Australia. He has single-handedly gone out and remanufactured parts which were not previously available here in Australia, and he's now exporting these parts around the world to restorers, which, you know, for a little Australian business is just wonderful. It's great, and I love seeing Australian companies get a bit of a buy-in overseas. As I say, look, there's nothing in it for me other than the fact that, look, I buy all my parts through Brad. I still pay for them like everybody else. I actively encourage him that there's no freebies, but I do go out of my way to promote his business because he is starting up. It is a struggle when you're in small business, and look, I just think he does a wonderful job. He is very generous with his knowledge. He will help anybody that is trying to get one of these restorations off the ground. His depth of knowledge is amazing on these vehicles, and look, I would encourage anybody that's considering a restoration to reach out to Brad and get a hold of his catalogue of parts, and look, your restoration will most likely become a whole lot easier. It's a great thing to have that resource there as a restorer. If you're into Fords or Holdens, your access to parts has been, relatively easy. For some of the English brands, not so. That was until Brad and Julie came along with their business. So yeah, the simple answer is it's an Australian business. They're hard workers, and I really personally appreciate what they're doing. Okay, well, question number 5 I've got here, and it's a good one again, is would you be prepared to make some how-to videos? A lot of you out there in the emails especially are asking for specific information about a specific part of the truck. So there is a possibility there that I may make some videos just specifically on one part. I'm trying as much as I can to encapsulate it into each video every week. As I say, you folks out there are actually helping me build the channel. So yeah, I'll just see how we go. I can definitely see there might be a need for it, but I'll have to give that one a little bit more thought. Righto, well, question 6 on our list, and our last question is how much do you actually make from your YouTube videos? The reality is it costs us money to make each one of these videos, and we went into this not expecting to make any money. The subject matter that we've chosen is in many respects a bit of a niche market. We're not doing LS swaps or rebuilding V8 engines. It's a very specific sort of market that we're targeting here, and the true reason is, look, we're not really in it to make a lot of money. We never expected that. It's more about just promoting the brand, helping people and guiding people with their restorations, but probably most importantly, that one of the big things that drives me is trying to find ways of getting younger people involved in these restorations, because it's the young folk that are going to be the next generation of people looking after these trucks and maintaining them and taking care of them, and that to me is really important. If we don't provide a modern media that young people can relate to, which might enable them to maintain, repair, fix, look after these trucks, then 1 or 2 generations on, potentially we've lost those skills. So that for me is a priority over everything else. Sure, it would be nice to make money off these videos. It would certainly help cover the costs. But that being said, we're not taking donations. We won't accept donations. If we get enough subscribers on YouTube and that just happens, well, so be it. That would certainly, the advertising that YouTube pay you for would certainly help. But look, at this stage, we're a tiny channel. We're infinitesimal in the YouTube universe. So we're just going to keep puttering along here, hoping the channel grows a bit. And above all, just listening to what you guys want out there who watch the channel, and try and create some content that everyone will enjoy. Just one thing that we are going to change here on the channel, we're just going to let all you good folk know our postal address. So, and the reason I'm doing this is just simply because we get that many emails asking for an address where you could send a tool or a letter or photographs to. I realise a lot of you folk out there are not on Facebook. I've said that before, and the email is a really useful thing. Some of you still like sending letters and putting things in the post, and we love getting that. We certainly appreciate it. Okay, well, this is our final part of the segment where we actually get to try and help out a couple of people that we've picked out of the emails that have been sent in. In particular, my first bloke here is a lad by the name of Gerhard, and he is trying to restore an LC5 in South Africa. Now, you wouldn't think that would be too much of a challenge, but what he's been fighting against is actually the scrap metal market. So for him, just finding parts for an old LC5 can be a real challenge. A lot of these old trucks that might have been sat around in farms or sheds have actually been scooped up and unfortunately put through to the scrap metal dealers because of the high value of scrap metal in South Africa. One part that he is chasing in particular, and I know that there'll be somebody out here in Australia who might have a lead on this, he's actually restoring one of the rare Sawyer diesel LC5s, and as you can see from the pictures, he's into it. He's really giving it a red hot go for a young fella. He is chasing the Sawyer badge off the front of the grille. Now, I know that there's some of these trucks sitting on farms here in Australia, and I am wondering if anybody out there might know the whereabouts of a badge. And if you do, if you could reach out to me, certainly either through Facebook or through YouTube in the comments. I'd be very keen to talk to you and just to see if we can help this young fella out. He's getting through it, he's getting it done, but like most young fellas, he's doing it on a budget. Okay, well, the next person I'd like to give a shout out to is Alan. We've been speaking a couple of times and Alan's emailed me regarding a brake drum that he's chasing for a wonderful old 1953 NVS Morris. Now it's the 13.5 version, so it's the 5-ton Morris, which is different to the 3-ton, and this is where he's having a bit of a problem. He had a brake shoe let go in the drum and it's really badly damaged that drum. He's kind of at the point where he's going to try and find a replacement, but he's struggling a bit because the trucks are now a little bit rare. So if anybody out there might have an NVS 5-tonner sitting in the corner of a paddock or a shed, or you might know of one or have seen one, then again, if you could reach out to me here at Morris LC Rescue, and yeah, look, I can certainly pass that information on to Alan, and yeah, just see if we can get this gorgeous old Morris back on the road for him. He's been doing a lot of restoration work himself, and it's been a labour of love, and he's gradually working his way through it, but he has hit a bit of a brick wall with this drum. So I'm just hoping somebody out there might have a lead for us, and yeah, we can track it down for him and yeah, help get another old Morris back on the road. Well, that's nearly a wrap for this little session. Before we move on, I'm getting a few emails from guys and girls that are chasing Solix 30 FAI carbies or carby parts. In a lot of cases, it's trucks that they've purchased that might either be missing the carby or parts of the carby are missing off the body. Look, if anybody out there happens to have a box of old Solix parts sitting on a shelf, if you wouldn't mind having a rummage through and just letting me know if you do have any complete carbies or parts of carbies. There are folks out there who would be interested in talking to you about purchasing some of those carby parts. You know, certainly if the carby is unserviceable, that doesn't matter, they can be rebuilt. But if they're complete, that's the main thing. Certainly, you know, these carbies are getting rarer. They're not unobtainable, they are about, but you do have to go lifting up a lot of stones to find them. So yeah, if you did have one or two sitting in a back shed somewhere, again, I'd really like to hear from you guys and girls. Alright, well, that's pretty much a wrap for this one. So from me to you, happy restorations, safe travels, and bye for now.